Boston Logan International Airport for a very special flight, JetBlue's inaugural flight to Presque Isle, Maine, which is also their first essential air service city. When I got to the gate, they had already begun setting up the celebrations for the inaugural. They had lemonade along with cupcakes that had flags in them, and they also had a painting commissioned for the new flights to Presque Isle, which they do with every new destination they fly to. My aircraft for the flight up to Presque Isle, as well as the way back the next morning, was an Embraer 190 that carried the registration of N273JB and currently carries the name Our Blue Stars. JetBlue's flights up to Presque Isle are currently contracted to be on the Embraer 190, but after about a year they're going to switch to the larger Airbus A220. JetBlue is contracted to be the new carrier for this community for at least the next 2 years, but I'll go over that contract more when we're in the sky. There were quite a few people that spoke as well, leading to about 45 minutes worth of speaking between here in Boston as well as up in Presque Isle when we landed. So I decided to put those speeches in a separate 45-minute video, the link of which is in the description below the video.
Whenever we have an inaugural flight, we like to celebrate by giving away some JetBlue tickets for future travel. Because our flight to Presque Isle is relatively short, we're going to do it before we board. So here's what's going to happen. We have 2 cups, one with letters and one with numbers. They correspond to a seat on the airplane. So if I said 25B, the person who's sitting all the way in the back, in the middle would get would say that's my seat, and you would win. Okay, does that make sense? B as in Bravo. 9B.
9B.
Anybody? Congratulations. All right.
I think that's 9B, right? I haven't played bingo in a long time.
That is 9B. That is you. Congratulations. And you, it's because you applauded for me in my speech. I appreciate it. All right, 2A. 3, 2, 1.
My seat for the flight up to Presque Isle was 18D, a window seat on the right side of the aircraft. Waiting at everyone's seat was a flag, as well as a postcard for the painting that they commissioned for Presque Isle.
Here on board. All right, that's a good majority. Works for JetBlue on board. I know we have a bunch of great folks on board. Who's from Presque Isle on board? All right, next question. Shut it out if you know the answer. What percentage of America's blueberries come from Maine?
6.
Close, 95 to 99. It depends on who you talk to. So, welcome aboard, folks. This is a great day for us Mainers, us Presque Islers, us JetBluers. The inaugural service to Presque Isle actually went on a radio show yesterday morning with our Vice President of Route Planning, David Jane, up in Maine, my hometown, Westbrook, the W of PWM, for those of you who don't know. So, our radio show that we went on, a lot of people listen to that across America, across a lot of military radio networks, so we got the word out yesterday, and I know our company has been getting the word out, and this is a great time for JetBlue. I believe it's a 2-year contract. We've got going up to Presque Isle. There's going to be lots of celebrations here over the next couple days. Again, my name is Phil. I'm flying with my good friend Chris here. I've flown with him quite a bunch. We bid for this trip so we could do this inaugural flight up to Maine. We got 2 of JetBlue's finest with us today, and I believe your dad's from Presque Isle. All right, so we got Susan and Kristen. And Kristen, you've got a connection up in Presque Isle as well. So we're just a family of Presque Isle and Mainers and JetBluers here today. So I certainly appreciate it. About a 50-minute flight once we do get airborne. Beautiful day up in Presque Isle. It's actually nicer than it is here right now. So thank you. Beautiful day up there, 82 or 83 degrees under clear skies. If you guys need anything, please talk to Kristen and Susan. You got a great crew with you today. It's going to be a great flight. We're so excited, and thank you all for joining us here today. We'll talk to you once again once airborne, and welcome aboard. Made for you folks on the right-hand side of the aircraft. Look outside the right windows and get a nice send-off here.
Inaugurals are always special.
Oh, I didn't realize it was this big a deal.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I did the Key West one. They had the fire trucks through the
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, how nice is that?
Yeah.
You work for JetBlue?
Yeah.
Would you?
Usually when I go to Governor's, if I go for dinner, I'll do a lobster roll or I'll either do like full belly clams.
Oh,
No, sure.
JetBlue 206, mounted at tower 132.22.
It was.
Yeah.
Because it moved. The first time I went to I was like, I can't miss it first day or first day.
I know. I was really fortunate that it's Saturday.
Blue 206, runway 9, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 9.
Well, they've been driving. Busy too. People go there like bowling. There's like an arcade and they drink in there. JetBlue is my favorite Chinese food.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Carol. Check it out. Yeah.
It's very
It's worth it.
It's very cool. So that when you walk in there, you're like, looks a little sketchy. But the Chinese food is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
The burgers are so nice. They've had it since like the 70s.
Nice.
When I go to Inaugural, I still can't find anybody's Chinese food that tastes the same.
I don't know anything that's no like oh, that, I think that was like that's me.
Maybe. I don't know. Scrap. Feel. Rocco's pizza. I hate Rocco's pizza.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too tantalizing.
It's not like sauce and then cheese. It's like sauce in a circle and then cheese in a circle and then it's like a swirl. So some bites are getting just sauce and some bites are getting just cheese.
It's not like the
Yeah, not at all. You know, if you like the arcades that don't come to Delaware.
yeah. I don't plan on getting pizza from Maine.
No. The good place that was up here closed.
Weston's okay.
Complimentary snack and beverage service momentarily. First, we're going to be coming through with our snack options. We have plantain chips, everything bagel flavored pretzels, graham crackers, and sea salt pop chips. Again, plantain chips.
I may be only 5'4", but I feel like JetBlue's planes have a little bit more room and economy than most other airlines. There was also a decent amount of room for my legs, even with my backpack under the seat. The in-flight entertainment system on JetBlue's Embraer 190 hasn't been updated since they were delivered to the company of which they were the launch customer for. But with their A220s coming into the picture soon, this shouldn't be a problem very shortly. For my snack, I chose pop chips as well as everything bagel flavored pretzels. It didn't take long before we reached our cruising altitude of 27,000 feet. As mentioned, Presque Isle is an essential air service city, and the contract subsidy rate has been one of the higher ones historically in the lower 48 states, which continues to be true with JetBlue.
Inaugural flight of JetBlue's Boston service from Presque Isle or from Boston into
United,
Presque
with the
Isle.
United Express branding, has served Presque Isle for many years, but the most recent contract for United in Presque Isle started in June of 2022 and had an annual subsidy rate of just over $10.8 million, which gave the city service 12 times a week on board a 50-seat CRJ 550 aircraft to Newark. JetBlue's contract will also run for 2 years and will go through August 31st, 2026. The annual subsidy rate for JetBlue will be just over $10.4 million for the first year and just over $11.2 million for the second year. Before I knew it, we were already starting our final approach into Presque Isle. Presque Isle doesn't use a conventional air traffic control tower. They use what is called a CTAF and stands for Common Traffic Advisory Frequency. This basically means the pilots talk to each other, explaining where they are location-wise, rather than somebody in a tower telling them where to go and what to do. It's very rare to find the recordings for CTAF frequencies online, so I'm glad I was able to find Presque Isles.
Presque Isle traffic, Embraer 190, we're about 12-15 miles west of the airport inbound for the RNAV 190.
Came up because my grandfather was passing away. We went over. Someone's gonna try to get out of the hospital. It was negative 18.
190, 10 mile final for runway 19.
The wind was
We're at 3,000.
severe snowsuit.
Ready to school.
Yeah. They don't cancel so they put chains on the tires.
I can't remember that as a kid. It's nothing. Like you get up here.
We used to plan our Halloween costumes for the snowsuit. There's a chance of snow. It happens. So my brother usually tries to go somewhere around twice during the winter because the winters are so long here.
I've been up to Burlington a few times. Even in the winter, but this has got to be worse.
Yeah, it's miserable. It's been so long that I lived up here. I don't even like driving. I come up here in the wintertime. I let somebody else drive. They do a good job of clearing the road for runways. So you'll see like quite an average.
Yeah, the winter's got brutal.
Heat bills.
Oh yeah. I complain about my heat during winter.
My house is up here. I really cheap though. Yeah. Like my brother's house has cast iron pipes. My sister-in-law's house has the cast iron pipes. My grandmother's house had wood stoves. But we actually electric engine. Sometimes you'll see like the senior people's houses. See snow over their house from very house. They have so much snow and so much so much so there's emergency. They're gonna have to send something. Wow. And I never realized that until my friend came to visit. She's like, "Wow." I was like, "Oh, snow." So it's my honor to be able to say this for the first time. JetBlue welcomes you to Presque Isle, Maine. The local time is 4:05.
your safety, please.
In addition to this being JetBlue's first time in Presque Isle, it is also my first time here, which makes this the 54th EAS airport I've been to.
Carolina. So they wanted to do something different, so I took them up here to Maine in the middle of the winter. And people don't realize what Maine is in the middle of the winter unless you live here.
Yeah, he was just telling me.
Hi. When I got inside the terminal, there was an even bigger party than there was in Boston, which made sense as this is a really big thing for the community, having their first mainline service since 1979. Hello. They also gave out gift bags to the arriving passengers. On the first table, they had waters, sodas, cupcakes, and more dessert. On another table, they had hot food, sandwiches, and even more desserts. Like I mentioned briefly, they did a lot of speeches here in Presque Isle as well. The link to that video is in the description of this one.
1, 2, 3. Listen to the clicks, see the flashes, and there you go.
At this point it was about 5:50, and I decided to head out so that way I could get some sleep for the flight back the next morning at 5:40 a.m. I didn't get to mention it earlier, but in the goodie bag there were JetBlue mints, maple syrup made in northern Maine, potato chips made in northern Maine, and a pin that said Maine as well.
I look great.
You know what? I do kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, the JetBlue.
So, you know, we came in.
As it's a small airport, I arrived about an hour and 15 minutes before departure time, as their check-in cutoff rules still do apply here.
Yeah, I guess it's on there.
Alright, there's 4 y'all traveling?
There is seating before security as well as after security, given the fact that 100 people in the sterile area would be a little bit small, and the only bathrooms are before security as well. This was the waiting area just after security. They also made a small expansion area for the extra people that JetBlue's planes have. The same plane that brought me up here is going to be taking me back to Boston. My seat back down to Boston was 8D.
Distinct pleasure to welcome you all aboard other flight down to Boston. How's everybody like a sunrise over Mount Katahdin on JetBlue today? I know as the guys lived in Maine. I moved to Maine about 23 years ago on a whim. Been here ever since. I'm really honored to be operating this flight through this morning. 56 minutes once we're airborne. It's going to be a nice smooth ride, and not expecting any delays.
JetBlue 207, Roger, clear to the Boston Airport via as filed on departure. Climb maintain 10,000. Expect flight level 240, 10 minutes after departure. Squawk 5311. Contact Boston Center 124.75. Release for departure. Clearance flight if not off in 5 minutes. Not off in 5 minutes. 5 buses are not later than 10 minutes. 7:10.
This flight more enjoyable for everyone. Please use headphones for personal devices or make sure they're silenced. We're going to adjust the main cabin lights for departure. If you need it, there's a reading light above your seat. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll be in the air shortly.
To end the video right about here, as the rest of the flight was pretty much standard to any other JetBlue flight going into Boston. I had an absolutely wonderful time on this inaugural flight, and it was probably the best inaugural celebration I've had domestic-wise, given what JetBlue did in Boston and the airport did up in Presque Isle. From here, once I land in Boston, I take an American Airlines flight back to Syracuse. That video should be out relatively soon, and the video of the 40 minutes of speeches from Boston and Presque Isle, the link for that is in the description of this video if you feel like watching that as well. If you want to try this really unique EAS route, JetBlue's flight is once daily for the next 2 years, and it leaves Boston at night with a return out of Presque Isle the next morning. Currently the flights are on JetBlue's E190, but in about a year they will switch to the Airbus A220 that hold about 40 more people and are a lot nicer than these planes.